Welcome to Menopause and Miracles, the podcast where midlife women get to acknowledge all the pieces and parts of themselves. This is a space for honest conversations around men, menopause, miracles, midlife transitions, emotional healing, and the powerful rediscovery of the woman underneath it all. We talk about things women carry quietly: menopause, motherhood, relationships, identity shifts, emotional exhaustion, healing, purpose, and the courage it takes to become yourself again. This is a podcast where midlife women are reminded that this season of life is not the ending of who they are, but the awakening of who they were always meant to become. Here we get to acknowledge all the pieces of ourselves. And I'm Suzanne, your host and your midlife wingwoman. I'm here to help you feel seen through the transitions of midlife and reminded that this season can still be one of healing, growth, rediscovery, and becoming. Together, we'll have honest conversations that help you feel seen, supported, and empowered to become who you're meant to be next. This is episode 50, Motherhood, Midlife, and Becoming Again. So in episode 48, I spoke of the miracle of pain, and last week's guest in episode 49 spoke of how he managed pain through breath work and decisions that defied his current state of well-being. And today I'm speaking about mothers and the profound pain, sacrifice, transformation, and miracles involved in bringing life, love, and care into this world. This episode is an emotional doorway to all women and one that widens the definition of motherhood beyond biology. So, in midlife, there are mothers who are going through the empty nesting in this season, and there are many women who carry invisible versions of mothering. Motherhood is the state of or experience of being a mother, but in the context of motherhood, state refers to a person's specific condition, status, or mode of being at any given time. And I believe at any given time, we, being women, are called in ways to mother. So, yes, today I'm speaking about mothers, with yesterday being Mother's Day. And, I know the reality of Mother's Day brings up joy, sadness, so many different feelings. And I want to acknowledge them here today in this episode. And before we begin, I do want to acknowledge that there are so many different types of mothers. And if I have missed any specific type of mother in this episode, please know that you are seen and included here. There are natural mothers, foster mothers, adoptive mothers, single mothers, stepmothers, grandmothers raising children, sisters stepping in to raise children, aunties, women friends, mentors, and women who mother through compassion alone. There are women struggling with infertility, women grieving pregnancy loss, women whose motherhood journeys were interrupted, altered, or deeply complicated. There are mothers caring for children with special needs, mothers grieving children lost young or older, and women quietly carrying heartbreak no one may see. There are families with more than one mother, mothers navigating addiction or mental health within the family, women estranged from their children, women who choose not to become mothers but still nurture deeply, spiritual or community mothers who mentor women, and again, empty nester mothers struggling with identity after children leave. There are pet moms, plant moms, caretakers, community nurturers, and women who have spent their lives tending to everyone around them. And then there are women who, somewhere along the way, had to become the mother they themselves never had. So, wherever motherhood touches your life, I hope this episode finds you there because midlife motherhood is complicated. Many women are still mothering everyone around them while quietly trying to rediscover themselves underneath the caretaking. And for many women, motherhood in midlife becomes less about raising children and more about birthing yourself again. That's the part no one really prepares us for. And heck, I'm not sure if anyone can prepare you for motherhood or midlife. These are roles as women we graciously step into. For those women with children, no one tells you that one day the house may become quieter. No one can prepare you enough for how motherhood evolves from physical exhaustion into emotional responsibility. To the one who carries the mental load, absorbs everyone's emotions, and keeps life emotionally stitched together behind the scenes. And many women are doing all of this while navigating menopause, changing bodies, changing identities, aging parents, financial pressure, relationship shifts, loneliness, grief, and the uncomfortable question of who am I now? Because for years, many women have been needed more than they have been known. Needed as mothers, needed as wives, needed as daughters, needed as caretakers, needed as problem solvers, but deeply known by themselves. Some women have lost this connection completely, and that realization can feel both heartbreaking and hopefully liberating at the same time or at some time. For many women, midlife is the season where the roles they carried for everyone else begin to quiet down just enough for their own voice to finally be heard. It becomes about identity, boundaries, grief, release, loneliness, changing roles, emotional labor, caregiving exhaustion for some, and rediscovering the woman underneath of decades of responsibility. It becomes realizing that you spent so much time making sure everyone else was okay that you stopped asking yourself whether you were okay. And I think one of the quietest griefs many women carry is this. They become responsible for everyone else's well being that they've lost connection to their own desires or well being. And now I'm not sure where you may notice this lost connection with yourself. For me, it was in my mid 40s, right about the time I was going into perimenopause, and my world started to shift. And when I say world, I mean my mind, body, spirit. I realized all the outsourcing I had done of myself, my energy, my time, and so on. Not all of it good, not all of it bad, but it's just a moment of, hey, I need some of that. More than self care, more like self adjustment to bring balance back into my life, into myself. And each woman has a different story and a way of getting here when they arrive in midlife, but the similarities are shared. For example, I don't have children. I'm a pet and plant mom and auntie 7 times over. And as perimenopause arrived, I realized I was reclaiming parts of myself, my peace of mind, my time, my values, my boundaries, and so much more. All of these things that I gave away so easily to and for others. And it was just harder for me to do in midlife, all that outsourcing. So, what has it been like for you? Has it been gradual, the connection with yourself and putting other things first in a variety of ways? When do you hear that little voice, your voice, whispering to you? And now, with our pause in this season of life, You may or you have already been hearing things like, what do you want? What brings me joy? What do I need? What kind of life do I still want to create? Some women reach midlife and realize they don't even know how to answer those questions anymore without guilt attached to them. And that's okay. It's a process. As much as we're becoming in this season, I believe there is also an unbecoming that takes place, right? The past roles and identities we've held may cause you to hang up that lab coat, shut your computer, go outside of the house where you've spent all of your days caretaking, or you're separated in this season from some serious healing and you need to be taken care of or caring for yourself. I think many women can relate that we learned that caring for ourselves is or felt selfish, while caring for everyone else felt noble. Unlearning, unbecoming, as we are equally important to be cared for and taking care of ourselves is important and it's necessary in midlife. But here's what I want women listening today to understand. You're allowed to exist beyond your usefulness to others. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to want more. And when I say more, it's not always material. It can be more time for yourself, more space to take up, like maybe a room or a place. Maybe it's more of your voice being heard or more of you in new areas to explore. You're allowed to create a life that includes you too. And maybe that's part of the miracle of midlife. I know it was for me. What a gift. And I hope that you receive it. Maybe this season isn't asking women to stop mothering. Maybe it's asking them to finally include themselves in the care. Maybe the next chapter isn't about abandoning who you've been, but reclaiming the parts of yourself that waited patiently while you poured into everyone else. The creative woman, the sensual woman, the peaceful woman, the ambitious woman, the playful woman, the rested woman, the woman who still has dreams outside of being needed, because there is still life left here. There is still purpose left here. There is still becoming left here. And perhaps the greatest thing a woman could do in midlife is to stop apologizing for becoming someone, quote, new, as she's simply being more of herself. Give her room. And maybe that's what becoming again really means in midlife, not becoming someone entirely new, but reconnecting with the parts of yourself that got buried underneath years of caregiving, responsibility, survival, and meeting everyone else's needs. So many women in this season of midlife aren't falling apart. They're shedding versions of themselves they had to become just to get through life. Does that resonate with you? As your coach and your midlife wing woman, I don't believe women in midlife need fixing. I believe they need support, space, guidance, and honest conversations that help them hear their own voice again. Because midlife has a way of asking women powerful questions. What do I need now? What do I want now? Who am I becoming now? And sometimes having someone walk beside you while you're rediscovering those answers can change everything. And so, to answer some of these questions, make time for yourself and join me for Stop Second Guessing Yourself 5 Shifts to finally trust your next decision, whatever that may be for you, on May 28th. This is a free 1 hour virtual midlife coaching session for women who know there's more and are ready to trust themselves again. You can go to www.yourmidlifewingwoman.com for details and to reserve your spot. Midlife truth: many women have spent years holding everyone else together while quietly losing connection to themselves. Permission slip, you're allowed to return to yourself now. If this episode made you feel seen in any way, please make sure to like, follow, or subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next inside our midlife circle here. And if another woman came to mind while listening, someone carrying the invisible weight of caregiving, motherhood, or trying to rediscover herself underneath it all, share this episode with her. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give another woman is the reminder that she is not alone. And I'm Suzanne, your midlife wingwoman and host of Menopause Miracles. Midlife isn't a closing chapter for women. It's often the first time life asks them who they are beyond everyone else's needs and who they need them to be. Midlife isn't your disappearance, it's your reintroduction. It's where the usefulness you've provided to others finally gets to be explored in ways you may need it. So I'll see you next Monday, same time, same space. Until then, take care for now.